All right. Close enough that we can probably figure it out.
Yeah.
Still got to get some intro music, but... That's the intro music now. Welcome to BLT. You're...
On Wry.
On Wry. I
say
was
the full
missing
name
something.
or don't say the name, Luke.
I forgot that part, and that's why I was hemming and hawing. I'm your... Wait, no, we gotta go in order.
I'm your B.
No, I'm B.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you were B last time.
But I'm eating a banana.
You gotta be... If you want to swap it up, you gotta go for something different. I'm L.
No, you can't be L.
Well, then you gotta take it.
Benny's gotta say he's B, or you gotta say you're B.
He
Somebody
did.
be B.
I
He
did
said
say
he
I
was
was
Okay,
B.
fine. I'll stick with my usual one.
All right.
The one
So
God
that's-
gave you.
So that's B, Benny, L, Luke, T, Tori.
No, I get to say it! T for Tori!
Okay. But
T for totally tubular.
so this week we how's everyone doing?
I'm eating a banana and yogurt.
I still have to go to work and I'm sad about it.
And I don't have a job. So, coronavirus 2020 lockdown, you know the drill. Watching stuff, listening to stuff. What did we watch and listen to this week?
Well, y'all are about to watch me eat this banana. Is this ASMR now?
I physically can't. I have my hand up trying to block it as best I can.
I'm almost done.
Listening to the ASMR banana
For people who
sound.
don't know, I don't like food and I cannot watch or listen to people eat it.
Yeah, that was a good banana bit right there.
I've got one more bite of banana and then I just have yogurt. I literally have not eaten today.
Okay,
I
that's
had 3
fine.
cups
You're
of
You
allowed
don't
milk.
need
to
to
eat.
justify it, I just don't want to
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah, and just don't put your mic up to it and slop on it like some sort of creature.
Wait, have I told you guys my idea for an ASMR channel?
No.
You know what?
It's where I read a recipe out loud and then I eat the piece of paper.
Okay.
I think it's pretty good.
I like it. I like it.
How is paper, how edible is paper?
As edible as you let it be, baby.
I mean, I think it's mostly plant fiber, so I assume it's not digestible, but
Don't let anybody stop
I've-
you.
I've never gotten sick from the several times I've jokingly ate a piece of paper.
I would assume that either the ink or the... What's in a pencil?
Lead.
Lead.
Graphite.
That would poison you. You can get lead poisoning. I heard about it once.
God, here's hoping.
Well, that is graphite in pencils. They don't do lead anymore because of the lead poisoning.
Oh, have you guys seen my new stick and poke tattoo? It's not new, it's like a couple months old.
I think
No,
yes.
I'm not.
I did it myself, sitting in my apartment room because I was left alone for too long. It's just 3 dots.
You definitely texted me as you were doing it.
That feels super right.
I don't get any of these fun Tori doing some nonsense texts.
I mean, you got some the other day.
Yeah, that one was fun. I liked being a part of that.
You have to cut this part out. And when I was in a bluegrass band,
Oh my god, I remember. I've seen that picture, like you as a kid.
I've
Yeah.
always
Oh,
seen
this
that
is
picture.
staying in. This isn't getting cut. It's going. No, it's going to be. It's going to be. You have to cut this part out. We'll cut. It'll be nothing for a little bit, and then it'll just be when I was in a bluegrass band, and then back to now.
no.
Tori's deep dark secret. She was in a
bluegrass
bluegrass
band. I like
Speaking of
music.
bluegrass, we didn't listen to any bluegrass this week.
Oh, maybe that's what I'll
None at
make y'all
all.
listen to.
Your bluegrass music?
No, you won't get mine. I have a
That's
lot
my
of
pick.
old
That's my
CDs.
pick for next week. Is Tori's bluegrass band.
You have to get a hold of it through my cold dead hand.
I'll call your mom. I
She
will.
sent me all the copies.
She'll get me another one, I'm sure. So we watched The Gay and Wondrous Life of Caleb Gallo. We listened to Hollywood Handbook.
What up, what up?
And we listened to Ghost's Infestissumam. And I think I was the one that's going to go first this week because I have not gone first yet.
And then I'm in the middle, and then
so
assembly line.
A little background for you guys if you aren't familiar. So Ghost is... They started out as, like, it's gonna kind of be a rock metal band, but I think the vision was always, we're basically going to be a disco band. And it is the lead singer, they all wear masks, so everyone in the band wears a mask. So the lead singer has, like, an outfit that's, like, spooky ghost pope, and the rest of them were just robes with, like, darkened hoods. So on the album, they're credited as Papa Emeritus and the Nameless Ghouls. And then the second album, Papa Emeritus died, so Papa Emeritus II took over. It's still the same guy every single time, but Papa Emeritus II and the Nameless Ghouls, and on and on and on. And he seems to be the main, I shouldn't say seems, he is the main writing force behind it. He writes all the, like, this is what we're going to do for the song, this is what the guitar part's going to sound like, this is the drums, here's the lyrics, blah, blah, blah. And they do a pretty elaborate stage show, very Broadway personality, sort of, like, over-the-top theatrical.
I got a very theatrical sense from them.
Yeah, and the one you guys listen to is their second album, which... So their first album was rock and roll metal Scooby-Doo music. Like, it sounds like you might get it like in a haunted house or something. This one, they're a little all over the place. Their third album is a little lighter even, and their most recent fourth album is basically, it's practically a disco album. They'll do a lot of, like, they cover ABBA all the time. That was one of their big ones. The Beatles, they covered that, and, like, Rocky Erickson was another big one. And for some reason, I shouldn't say some reason, they're just good and fun to listen to, but somehow, like, the metal community really fell in love with them. A lot of people that are, like, really into metal are like, oh, this is cheesy and kitschy, this is stupid, but I think a overwhelming majority of people are like, this is fun, this is cool, let's go to this disco show. Anyway, that's Ghost. Thoughts?
I would say you've said that they're disco influenced. I didn't really hear much disco on this album. It definitely felt more classic rock. Yeah,
it definitely shows up a lot more on the other albums. I only say that because the way the lead singer described the band was, we wanted to sound like a band from the 70s that you hadn't heard of before, and then you put it on and like, oh, this is, you know, I must have missed this one. But no, it turns out the album came out last year.
I would not have. I liked it more than I thought I would, and it's probably due to the theatrical nature of it. Because I went in and I was like, then he was like, have you listened to Luke's selection while I was certainly very sober and not tripping? And I said, that's probably not a good idea. And so I didn't that day. But I think I could have, which is good to know.
Okay.
There was... Well, I'm trying to pull up the track list now to remind myself of what I wanted to say. There was a song that began with a piano. I think it was Zombie Queen?
Yes, Goulet Zombie Queen, the surf rock song.
Yes, I really like that one.
I love Zombie Queen.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I also liked Secular Haze. Mainly it was the name, but I also enjoyed the song.
With the, like, it sounds carnival like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess what I kept thinking is, how serious am I supposed to be taking this? Like, how is it, like, fully a joke, or is it...
I don't think I'd even call it a joke. A lot of it is very tongue-in-cheek. Like, they still, you know, like, their social media posts are still like, oh my god, Papa Emeritus III has died. He has passed away in the night. By God. Well, thankfully, we have Papa Emeritus IV here, and it's literally just a costume change. It's the same guy. No one in the band has left or changed. It's just like the internal story of the band. And like things like that, it's very hokey and over the top, but it's serious in that they don't think that part is funny. That part's not a joke. That part is, yeah, this is the story of the band. It's silly and it's over the top, but it's not like humorous.
I'm looking at photos of them.
Oh, I should do that.
Weird.
Yeah. They've gone through a number of costume changes. Oh, are you looking at the guy like that has the person-looking face? Because their more recent album, the costume was... So he wears like a rubber mask, and it's all painted up. But there's also a rubber mask that looks like a normal dude that's not painted up, just like the eyes are painted.
Yeah.
That's still a, like, rubber mask. He also talks in, like, a ridiculous fake Italian accent, I think. It's hard to pin down. It's supposed to sound, like, churchy. Like,
So he's supposed to be the Pope?
Yeah. He's basically supposed to be the Pope.
Okay, you said that none of the band members left, but I'm looking at this article from 2017 where...
That one... Right. The part where they're like, oh, Papa Emeritus has passed. That's not someone has left. There was a internal conflict. Basically everyone except Tobias Forge, who is the guy that is the singer and basically does everything. They were saying we weren't getting paid royalties or we weren't getting paid this. And he came back and said, well, you know, they're not part of the band. They're session musicians that I hired, and I paid them session fees, and the ones that I took on tour, I paid them touring fees and stuff. And there was, like, a lawsuit back and forth. And I think it's settled, and I think Tobias Forge won, but I'm not 100% on that. Don't quote me on that.
Like Paramore?
Is that a thing that happened with Paramore?
Yeah, Hayley Williams is the only one signed to any sort of contract.
Oh, I was unaware that was a thing. But from what that sounds like, yes. Exactly like that.
At least circa 2010.
Yeah. They also had another legal thing. They were called Ghost, but apparently there's a U.S. band also called Ghost. So for a portion of their career, they went by Ghost BC, but I think at a certain point they just got enough money to... they got popular enough and got enough money to just win that lawsuit, so they are back to being Ghost. But I have, like, a ticket to see Ghost, and then a ticket to see Ghost BC, and then another ticket to see Ghost. They just...
Like, coming up?
Yeah. No, not coming up. Like, I'm saying, like, the chronology of, like, they were Ghosts, and then they had to be Ghost BC for a bit, and then they were Ghost again.
What is a performance like?
I would say, yeah. So currently, why is that picture so small? It's, I mean, basic concert sort of stuff, but there is a big stage in here. Like, the first time I went to go see them, I saw them at Mr. Small's. And the second time I saw them, Stage AE, getting a little bigger. And then the most recent time they came through, they played at the Benedum, I believe.
It's an interesting venue.
Yeah, it was very, like, intentional. They stopped at all the, like, theater places. And if you see the post, I just posted it in the Discord, like, that's what the stage looks like. All the, you know, it's like a regular concert. It's just big, more elaborate stage, people walking up and down the steps, dancing, and I mean, mostly the singer dancing and stuff, but just very,
hard to dance while playing the drums.
Yeah, that's true.
Not impossible.
No, not impossible.
I've seen that
Y'all
Beast
ever
Boys
watch
video.
marching bands?
No. Who?
marching band, like a marching
Oh.
band.
Slipknot do that sometimes. They got the big kits that they dance around on.
Like a quad drum?
Yeah, and it's on risers and stuff, and it rotates. And...
I've never tried risers. The joke being he's on risers.
I knew it was somewhere there. I didn't find it.
I give that joke like a 4 out of 100.
Look,
Oh,
it was a solid attempt. They can't all be good.
Can any of them be?
I agree. Give it a 4. I give the courage it took to try and make the joke
A 6.
more points.
And it was quick. There
Out of
has to
100.
be something for the quickness of it.
Mm-hmm. It has to be
I
quick,
disagree.
or else your brain would filter it out. Your brain would say, no. We can't do that one. So, what else? Anything else about this album? I mean, yeah, Zombie Queen, weird surf rock song. Love that one. Secular Haze and Year Zero are probably the two biggest from the album. Like, they were the singles and they get played live and all that. Other than that, I don't know. Not much more to talk about. If you guys liked it, that's cool. I'm glad. I would recommend their other albums. A lot of similar stuff.
I would totally listen to them cover ABBA. I fucking love ABBA.
Yeah, they covered I'm a Marionette.
Oh, well, I was thinking of Mamma Mia. I love Mamma Mia.
That was on what I listened to, I'm a Marionette. That was on the Spotify, at least.
Oh, right. They did have the...
Yeah, the I'm a Marionette was on there. I did not recognize that as an ABBA song.
Me
I only
either.
know Mamma Mia.
Let's see.
And Mamma Mia, too.
They've done a lot of covers. Their first big one was Here Comes the Sun. And then they did I'm a Marionette. And then I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Rocky Erickson. He was like a folk,
Yeah, I've heard that name.
psychedelic rock kind of guy. He had a long and storied career, and he unfortunately had some sort of, I want to say schizophrenia, some sort of mental illness, and lived with a family member for many years that they just kind of kept him dependent on them. And then after they passed, someone figured it out and got him help, and he started touring again and making songs again. Anyway, he has a song called If You Have Ghosts, so they cover If You Have Ghosts. They did a Depeche Mode cover. What was their... They have a little covers EP, Pope Star. Echo and the Bunnymen, the Eurythmics.
Which Echo and the Bunnymen song did they cover?
Nocturnal Me.
Oh. I'll have to check that out.
What did they do on If You Have Ghosts? ABBA, Depeche Mode, Rocky Erickson. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, they're a fun band. This album I think is their... A lot of people would put it as their lowest album, which this is the album I got into the band because of. And this is my favorite album. I really love this one. But it was kind of this weird middle point between sort of heavier rock and lighter, more theatrical stuff. And I think this just hit the sweet spot, but everyone else sort of prefers it one way or the other, I think. And there's also kind of a weird, I guess it's only for the first 3 albums, where it was the first album has this overall theme of this cult, this spooky cult coming together in this haunted mansion, blah blah blah. It's not that serious, that well written out or thought out, but that's just kind of the aesthetic, the album art, and some of the songs have. And then Infestissumam is a Latin superlative adjective meaning very or most hostile.
Are they Latin? I did get kind of a what's that holiday called that I'm not going to try to pronounce?
Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead.
Their album artwork kind of reminded me of that.
I mean, the first song does start out with almost Gregorian chanting.
Yeah, I want to say Latin. The aesthetic is all basically, evil, spooky Satan church. But Infestissumam is meaning the biggest threat in reference to the Antichrist. And, this album is them creating the Antichrist, getting together all this evil ritual and getting the mother of Satan together, and Monstrous Clock is supposed to be the conception of this Infestissumam. And then the next album, I think they kind of gave up on that narrative because the fourth album is not super related to that. But then the third album's he's here and he's being spooky and doing evil stuff.
I have 2 notes. The first is that I'm playing Dromio of Syracuse in Comedy of Errors.
Okay.
And I literally just went through the scene today with everybody where the courtesan comes on. Basically, my master Antipholus is give us a sign that something's that we're okay. Mm-hmm. And the courtesan comes on and he's like, that's the devil. And I'm like, that's worse than the devil. That's the devil's mom. Which was, they're talking about the devil. And the second is that if I listened to this and brought a demon into my house, Luke, I swear to God, I will end you. I don't fuck with ghosts. I don't fuck with demons. I don't.
The band is called Ghost. You had to know something going.
Okay, I listened to the band In Love with a Ghost, and it's just cute songs that are I found a witch in the woods, and now we're friends.
Oh, okay. Well, these guys are Rubber Masks and ABBA covers, so I think you're fine.
Yeah, okay, but I don't trust you. So there's the issue in that.
Okay. I'll pick something genuinely evil next time.
I will listen to it outside of your house. I swear to God.
You can come listen to it inside of my house. That's
no,
fine.
We have to quarantine. You have to do it outside.
The whole Wonderous is quarantine.
She's gonna, oh Lord, 16 Candles, me?
No, say anything.
Say anything. I never watched any of those movies growing up.
I love 80s movies.
I watched 16 Candles. I do love that.
You're gonna stand outside my house with a boombox over your head, but it's just gonna be
I bet your neighbors would love that.
Probably.
I do want to come love your good kitty cat.
Yeah.
Where is she?
She's probably under the bed. She got trapped in the other drawer today.
Oh no.
I heard her yowling, and I'm like, what are you doing? And I was looking around, and she wasn't there. I'm like, are you just sitting in your drawer yowling? So I pulled the drawer out, and she wasn't in it. I'm like, what the heck? I heard her. The drawer next to her drawer is where my socks and underwear and undershirts and stuff are. And I pull it out, and she's trapped in there. She climbed in and was like, oh, this is a bad idea. I'm like, oh my God, you moron.
That moment of hesitation you had between socks, underwear, and undershirts, I was so concerned. I was like, where's he going? What else is in the drawer?
My weapons.
What's in the drawer?
What's in the box?
Do you know what I was just looking at on Facebook? Was that guy, Pazuzu. Pazuzu, that's all I could think of. Pazuzu something. This dude in North Carolina who had a house. And in it was just people went there to do drugs and party and fight, anything goes, no rules. And he had in his kitchen, his dishwasher was just full of weapons. And he went to jail because he had 2 fiancés. And he killed one guy and they buried the body, and then one of his fiancés killed somebody else and they buried the body. And he might have been a cannibal.
And this is the plot of Tiger King?
Oh, I do love Tiger King! There's a new drinking game. Have you guys watched Tiger King?
I broke down and I started watching it. I'm 2 episodes in.
Okay, Luke, drinking game for Tiger King. Every time anybody says Carol Baskin, you go, that bitch, and take a drink.
That will kill you. They mention her 50 times an episode.
Carol Baskin, that bitch!
I got to turn my air conditioning off. I'll be right back.
Right. That story reminded me. Have you heard of the band Cannibal Corpse?
No, I know the song Cannibal Queen.
Oh, no. I'm gonna wait for Benny to put his headphones on. Benny, are you familiar with the band Cannibal Corpse?
I've definitely heard the name.
Have you seen Ace Ventura: Pet Detective?
Yes.
They're the band that's playing when Jim Carrey escapes through the concert.
Okay.
But apparently, the bass player, I think it was the bass... No, it wasn't the bass player. Someone in the band was suffering from some sort of mental illness and was arrested while having a psychotic break. And they went to his house. And basically, the arrest reads like... Cannibal Corpse bass player arrested. Home search. Found 200 firearms, a flamethrower, 3 human skulls.
Just casual things.
Yeah. Apparently he didn't try and hurt anyone. I think that what I read was someone found him naked in their home, and he was like, "You gotta help me. They're after me." And they were like, "Okay, let's call the cops now." And he collected weapons, and the skulls were not from people that he had slain.
That's good, at least.
Yeah.
Wait, do you have a human skull?
No, I have a rib bone.
Now, was that purchased or found?
Purchased.
Wow.
It was for who was the other science teacher at camp? There were 2 of them.
Yes.
You know which one I'm talking about?
I remember neither of their names.
There was an M.
Bruner. There was Bruner.
Mattia.
So Mattia's, his one thing he did was like a forensic bone thing. And I was talking to him about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you can find all sorts of bones online." And I'm like, "Oh, what about people bones?" Haha. And he's like, "Yeah, you just buy those." And I'm like, "What, really?" So I went on Amazon and paid $10 for the partial remains of a human being.
You are just welcoming demons into your place.
Well, I also brought it in to show the kids. I was like, "Hey, check this out. We were talking about that. We got this."
These are inside of you.
I also have, you can see it over there, my little deer skull, and there's a cow.
I'm just looking at the penguin. You got a big penguin stuffed animal, and I love it. What's his name?
I don't recall. I'm sure I named him at some point. I got him very long ago. I don't recall his name, but...
Can we rename him after the dinosaur that you let me have for a little bit in D&D, Sergeant Peanut Butter? Or no, it was Captain Mustard.
Captain Mustard.
Yeah, Sergeant Peanut Butter is the horse.
Captain Mustard. There's this really good TikTok audio going around that's like, I was at the zoo. It's from this comedian. I wish I could tell you his name. He's like, I'm at the zoo, and we're doing the tour, and she takes me over to the penguin exhibit, and she goes, "These are 2 gay penguins." And I go, "What?" And she goes, "These are the 2 gay penguins." And I said one more time, and she went, "These are our 2 gay penguins." And I was like, "Okay, this is the zoo. Why did you show me anything else? You can tell the giraffes to take off. Like, this is the zoo now." And the reason that they're gay penguins is because, do you guys know the difference between a male and a female penguin?
No.
I assume the genitalia.
Like,
but...
do you know how to tell by looking at them the difference?
No.
Neither do most male penguins.
Oh. So they're that stereotypical, "Oh, you're just confused." They might just be confused.
They just don't know. They just fall in love. They're just in love. Love is love.
Love is blind. Anyway, that was Infestissumam.
That was Luke maybe welcoming a demon into my home. And I'm not religious. I just don't fuck with demons, and I don't fuck with ghosts.
Okay.
Of all the music that I've heard that could bring a demon in, that was not the music I would think of.
Well, no, but they did chant in Latin, and they're, I don't fuck with that. I did have a sexual experience with a ghoul once.
Is that just a person that was very ghoulish? Or...
No, that's a Griffin McElroy quote.
Oh. In my head, I was like, now I gotta hear this story.
It's a really great bit. He goes, "I did have a sexual experience with a ghoul once." And they go, "What was that?" And he goes, "Okay, well, that sip of water is time for me to, think of the story."
The Latin is apparently il padre, il son, il filo, which is son, and lo evil spirit. Every heavenly something must be destroyed. The Antichrist, son of Satan, Infestissumam. So there may be demons in your home.
I do think this house is haunted. I also woke up like 2 days ago, and I always like wake up covered in bruises, but like there's 3 on my leg that kind of look like a hand gripped it.
Like a ghost hand.
Well, yeah. I don't think there's a person.
Why not?
Okay, well now I do.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Not checked under the bed, and I'm not gonna look under the bed. If somebody is here under the bed, kill me now. Do it, coward. Do it.
Oh God, she's being murdered.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I forgot this is an audio-based platform.
So, what are we talking about next?
I believe it's me with the Hollywood Handbook.
All right.
Recently, the website Burst Movies Death wrote write-up about Hollywood Handbook, and I'm going to read what they said because I think it describes it perfectly. Writing about Hollywood Handbook is doubly daunting given the show's indescribable nature. It stars 2 comedy writers, Sean Clements and Hayes Davenport. If you start the show from the beginning, it does sort of start off as a parody of Hollywood guru types. Pretty quickly, though, it devolves into unstructured insanity. And that is the best way I can describe Hollywood Handbook. It is unstructured insanity.
Yeah, that at first did make it a little difficult to get into. Like, they started the episode and, like, they're already mid-bit, like, talking about something, and I'm like, is there, like, an intro here? Am I going to find out what we're talking about?
Well, so at the beginning of every episode, they tell a name-droppy story, but the names they drop are often ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll say, like, last night I was having dinner with Speedy Gonzalez, and I forget what it was for this episode.
Honestly, the beginning, like, lost me so quickly that I couldn't remember what happened for the first, like, 15, 20 minutes.
I honestly didn't really recover from the beginning. I had no idea. People were talking out of my phone for about an hour. And one of them was on the Billy Eichner, and she wrote the show.
Yeah, Julie Klausner.
Yep.
Who they call Queenie because she's on the show a lot. Did you catch the part where they're making fun of the audience for enjoying her being on the show?
No.
I caught them making fun of her and her existence a lot. And anything that she may have ever said in any way that they could interpret it.
I have to say my favorite part of the episode was the song that they kind of played a little bit, but then they talked over, and then they played it a little bit more. He's just cracking up.
Just remembering it.
I love how some of these things, it's like, we enjoy them so much. Like last week, Tori was like, I'm kind of listening, but I'm also trying to go back and relive Griffin's Amiibo corner in my head while this happens. So
I was going to say, when they make fun of Julie Klausner for, like, how much the fans like her, that's a lot of their humor is, like, they're like, oh, Julie's on this episode? Oh, great, Queenie's the only one who can keep up with the boys. Just anticipating, like, the Reddit comments on it.
Yeah. Like I said, it kind of lost me a little at first, but I paused it to do something, and when I came back in, it made me remember it was when they were coming up with, like, modern renditions of horror movies, or, like, updated versions, and I remember having the exact same conversation with my friends in college, except it wasn't like modern horror movies. It was like we were changing little bits in the title and, like, talking about what that movie would be. And it was just like, it reminded me so much of that. I was like, oh yeah, this is what we did. This is like, okay, I see what's happening. I was taking this too seriously. I can get on board with where they're going and what they're doing and follow along. Like, there's not really a huge narrative here.
No, none of it is ever serious. Anytime they say anything, they're being sarcastic. The way that you can tell if they enjoyed something is if they're talking about how much they didn't like it. And if they didn't like something, they talk about how brilliant it was.
So they're liars.
Well,
They're charlatans!
You're supposed to be able to see through it. Like, they'll talk about, like, give me a recent movie everybody loved.
Cats, 2019.
Oh, God, how funny was Cats? I mean, it's just so freaky the way that they have, like, cat stuff.
And, like, the way that their bodies looked so cat-like, but so human at the same time.
I mean, me and my boys, we were just busting up thinking about it.
God, I was, like, uncomfortable in the most sexual way.
And isn't that fun to be uncomfortable in a sexual way? Isn't that fun to mention?
God, I love it.
Was I telling you guys that's the drinking game that Molly and I played when we watched Cats? Was drink when you're uncomfortable and drink when you're horny, and we were toasted after like 10 minutes.
I think we mentioned this last episode, but the butthole cut of Cats. Someone posted a video where they put the buttholes on the cats, and then also put like cat nipples, like 6 of them or 8 of them down every single person, and it was like, oh no, I don't want this.
Or you really did want it.
Or yes, it shot so far beyond what my mind is capable of like comprehending. It just, the signals came in as something I didn't want.
Did you guys pick up on the moment when Julie is talking about something and kind of references sex and they freaked out?
Yeah, like she mentions, she says the words "my clitoris" and they go "Ah! Ah!"
See, this is one of the ones that I feel like if I listen to a few more, I'll really get into it. But this was literally just an hour of my phone making noise and me going, okay.
Classically, people say it takes 15 episodes to understand, because I would say every 10 episodes, they abandon all their bits and start making fun of them. How much they didn't like what they had been doing for the past 10 episodes.
Just every 10 episodes, just hit the reset button, like, all right, those jokes were lame.
And start telling you were dumb for finding them funny, and it is the best thing in the world.
Okay, so that makes sense, because Benny, you love when people are mean to you. Like, those are your best friends, are the people who are the meanest to you. Which is why Luke and I are really good friends with you, because we're both very, very mean. A part that wasn't recorded of this podcast was Luke and I pretending to fight and getting a divorce, and Benny was the child, and we blamed the entire divorce on him.
Yep. I honestly almost felt a little bad as we were doing that, because I was like, I don't know Benny's parents' situation, and I'll feel bad.
They're together. They're, like, happily together.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they grew up on the same street as each other, and they've been together for years, and they live on that street currently.
Aww. I will meet your parents and bone them both.
I want to meet. I don't want to do that last part, but I want to meet your parents.
I told you guys I wanted to get you on the boat this summer.
Yeah, we were trying to do that. Well,
Luke, you gotta cut that part out about me boning Benny's parents, because I think I've threatened the same thing with your parents, and you said your mom listens to this.
Yeah, please don't let that be in the episode.
Well,
you put it in as, I do want to meet both of your parents.
I'm an editor, but I'm not a miracle worker, so we'll see.
I wish I'd had you guys listen to, it wasn't an option at the time, but this week on Hollywood Handbook, they had professional skateboarder Tony Hawk, and they tried to help him make a new video game. And
oh no.
He kept being like, so it's like, normally, like, they were like talking about levels, and he kept trying to add, like, Tony Hawk kept trying to add, like, skate parts, and they just kept talking about, like, what else would be in the level, like it was like a college. And like, oh, and you have to, like, go to class and, sit there and listen, and, because an education's important, Tony. You're really not missing out on that.
Do most of the guests, like, understand what they're in for? I assume if they're coming... No?
They famously do not.
Wow. That's surprising, because, like, that happened a lot from what I could tell with the Eric Andre show, where they would convince people to come on and wouldn't have any idea how absurd it is. But something like a podcast, like, I'm surprised that they can get a name like Tony Hawk onto a podcast without Tony being like, oh, these guys, I'm fans of them, sure, I'll come on.
Have you not seen the Tumblr and Twitter threads that have been going around about how Tony Hawk is famously not famous anymore?
Yeah.
Like, shows his ID at the airport, and they're like, oh, like the skater, I wonder what he's up to now, and he goes, this.
It's kind of just this.
I think part of how they get guests on is they work on TV shows in LA, so they have some famous friends. I think their third guest was Donald Glover.
Oh, wow.
Because Sean, who's one of the hosts, was on an improv team with him for years. Like 2 weeks ago, they had John Hamm. Because I think that they just have, like, friends in common. But they say that they give them about a 1-minute explanation before it starts of, like, hey, we just play ridiculous idiots. Understand that if we're mean to you, that it's all in good fun. You can be mean back if you'd like. And then it starts.
So, did it... I kind of want to watch this episode now. How did Tony react?
He was incredibly confused. He didn't understand.
Like, guys, it's a skateboarding game. What do you mean go to class?
Exactly. And then, like, at one point, he's talking about that whole, like, going, like, to the airport thing, and they start chastising him for, like, traveling under, like...
During quarantine?
Yeah, and he's like, well, no, this is, like, in the past. And they're like, yeah, but, like, you could have spread stuff then. You don't know. I'll send you there's a very funny clip that I'll send to the group. But the episode I really wanted you guys to listen to is one called, they did a show live at Comic-Con. And
with Triumph.
Well, no, it's just called Our Triumph at Comic-Con. The bit being that so they were booked on the show after it had sold out. So nobody knew who they were. So sorry, the video started playing and it's distracting me. Okay. So it was sold before and nobody knew who they were. So imagine a room full of people who are you two listening to that episode. Who just have no idea what's happening.
Oh, that sounds like the perfect environment for them. Like, I bet they were loving it.
They were they were sort of uncomfortable with it, but they then went home and did like a director's commentary for it, where they'd play a bit, then stop, and describe like why they were making the jokes they were making, and why they weren't working. So, like, to ingratiate himself to the comic book audience, he said that he's most known for playing Mrs. Batman. And nobody laughed at, like, it was just like, oh, you guys probably know me from playing Miss Batman. And then dead silence.
Shit. That's pretty good.
It is so funny.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely feels like it's up my alley of, like, everything is a joke. I think I just have to listen to more to really get into it.
I think I could go for another episode of this.
And then once you're in, like, I subscribe to 2 different premium podcasts they do. They do the Hollywood Handbook Pro version, where they don't have a guest, and they just kind of, they'll watch, like, movie trailers and make fun of those, or kind of do whatever. And then they also do a basketball podcast called The Flagrant Ones, where they once spent a whole episode ranking the basketball players in terms of, like, who's the hottest.
I have the perfect audio for subscribing to premium channels.
Hey, bitch. What's up? You know, I'd really like to do that, but I don't have any fucking money. Like I don't have any fucking money.
I would recommend subscribing to Stitcher Premium. It's $5, and you get, I think, like 200 podcasts?
What part of I don't have any fucking money?
You don't have $5? If you're in that bad of a way, we can help you out.
Yeah, Tori.
If you don't have $5.
Do you want to see? So I have 2 bank accounts. But the statement for my current one, the one that I usually use, is $13.
Ouch.
I've been there.
I was going to say the statement's, bruh.
The email that I get every morning from PNC, your $13.50 is less than your alert threshold of $100.
You can turn the alerts off.
Yeah, but then I don't know how little I have. I can't wake
up
in the...
I think you do. It's always there in the back of your head, yeah.
But I forget, and then the email comes through, and I wake up in the morning with the sense of regret. And, that's how I start my day. It's like, wow, I am truly an idiot.
That's what I was trying to eliminate, but if that's your cup of tea, then you wake up with your regret.
My entire, life is based off a fuel of revenge.
Oh, okay. Currently, any what's the be all end all end goal of revenge?
To get it.
I mean, upon who?
Who everybody. Myself, you, Benny, to name a few. This podcast. Anybody who listens to it.
Well, I think you've done more than enough damage to this podcast simply by being on it.
Alright, but is it revenge? Have I revenged it? And I'm revenging anybody who does. I'm getting revenge upon anybody who doesn't listen to it.
Mm. And the few people who do listen to it.
Yes,
certainly they're getting their revenge.
Yeah, they've suffered enough.
They just listened to me describe Hollywood Handbook for 10 minutes.
No, I'm saying, is there a finale? Once you get revenge on, what's the biggest amount of revenge that you're like?
I die. That's the end.
You die. Oh, okay.
I get my revenge.
But what I'm saying is, what is that revenge? What is that last one that pushes you over the edge that says, okay, I'm good now, I can die, and then your soul
on life.
Yeah, it's kind of like a revenge on life, on being alive.
So that's the ultimate revenge, and once you do that, you can pass from this world.
Yeah, but then I have to get revenge on God, if she exists.
Okay, so the plan is, once you die, then you'll be allowed to pass from this mortal plane. Only after you die will you allow yourself to die.
I'd like to back up and make the joke of Being Alive, the song from Marriage Story.
Oh,
is that...
Still haven't seen it.
Being alive, being
the Sondheim song, yeah.
Being alive.
Adam Driver sings the entire thing in Marriage Story.
Being alive.
Is he a good singer?
He's fine. I'm not a good judge of that, but I felt he was fine.
My favorite Adam Driver thing is when he went on SNL and they did that, a day in the life of undercover boss sort of thing.
Yeah, with Kylo Ren.
Just very good. I was in the shower with Kylo. He's got an 8-pack. Washboard abs. Kylo Ren's a fucking dick.
Who's your guys' favorite SNL cast member? Mine's Alec Baldwin.
Past or current?
I mean, that's a joke. Alec Baldwin is not my favorite cast member. I just like that they use him so much, even though they have, a whole cast.
Doesn't he suck?
What do you mean?
He did. Why? I feel like he did something I don't like. I have a lot of people that I'm like, I know I don't like them, but I don't know why.
I mean, you literally just described how you're going to take revenge on every single person.
Yeah, but sometimes I don't know why.
I get the revenge. Once left his daughter a very mean voicemail where he called her I want to say a fat pig?
Oh, okay. Well, I get those all the time.
From me, mostly.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, that's just how, once this podcast ends, Luke becomes very mean to us.
What do you mean becomes? He fucked me over in Ticket to Ride the other day.
I'm
still mad about it.
I'm a very kind person when there's someone looking.
When there's microphones, yes. When you're being recorded.
When there's microphones or cameras. As soon as these are off, it's just oh, by the way, Tori, I murdered your entire lineage. There's no one left but you. Anyway, want to podcast next week? Yeah? All right.
You're like John Mulaney.
Yeah. Seems all super nice and stuff, and then as soon as the cameras are off, it's like, get out of here, scum.
I saw him
was my John Mulaney
live. I went to the Sack Lunch Bunch watch and then Q&A. All the Sack Lunch Bunch was there. It was so good. They're so cute. He does not seem like a real person. Like, looking at this man and hearing his voice come out of his body is like, I don't think I'm actually here. It was like an out-of-body experience. It's such a strange mashup of, like, I know his voice, and I know what he looks like, and these two things just aren't connecting.
I should say, I only made that joke because that's the plot of the episode of Crashing he's on, is that he's a very nice guy, like, in public, but behind closed doors, he's incredibly rude.
I've heard that as, like, a real thing, but not incredibly rude behind closed doors, just kind of like
Sassy.
A private person.
Yeah, I think that he
doesn't want to be around, like...
Yeah, I think that he's just, like, a normal guy backstage who's, like, not... You know what I mean? Like, we're all rude at some points.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's, like, an especially rude guy, but I think they played it up for humor on that show.
Yeah. Because, his character is the pushover, nice guy.
Yeah.
Etc., etc.
I think about, like, Bo Burnham, who has his, like, on-stage presence and his character.
Mm.
And then off-stage, he's apparently just, like, super quiet and reserved.
Yeah. Well, they always say that the incel comics are the nicest offstage. That they, like, get it all out. Like, Anthony Jeselnik is apparently, like, the nicest guy in comedy.
You know who's not? Bianca Del Rio. Girl is always throwing shade, and I do be loving her.
I was going to say Louis C.K., but that one works too.
You know who I hear is really mean? Ellen.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I read some, like, article about how, like, apparently she, like, goes through staff like crazy because they're just like, I can't do this. I don't know, I should say, for liability reasons. I know nothing about Ellen's personal life. I have no idea. Yeah, I read, like...
Just in case one of the 4 people who listen to us is Ellen DeGeneres.
Or Portia Del Rossi.
Or Portia Del Rossi. I don't know anyone else related to Ellen's life, so that's about all. So, the game
If one of the 4 people is Harry Styles, please marry me. Please.
And I liked your cover of Sledgehammer.
Someone give me Harry Styles' phone number. I called and they said it was the wrong number. It's Brockhampton.
Yeah.
The Gay and Wondrous Life of Caleb Gallo.
Yes! So
I watched one episode.
I watched all of them.
Oh. How many are there?
There's like 5.
Oh. Well, you seem like you're going to have more experience with this. Well, Tori, why don't you give us some backstory?
Yes, okay. So The Gay and Wondrous Life of Caleb Gallows. It stars Brian
Gallo.
Jordan Alvarez, who is also a comedian and does a bunch of things. Truly just, like, incredible. Follow him on Twitter. Very good tweets. All the time. Always. Stellar performance. 10 out of 10. But so it basically follows the life of Caleb Gallows, who lives in LA. You guys gotta go get tacos in LA. That was a fucking Letterkenny reference.
Yeah, I got it.
He lives in LA, and it follows him and his friends as he goes through. He's got a long distance relationship. Who was deported and is coming back, but he's fighting feelings for a friend who has feelings for another friend, and it's just a great mix. And my favorite character is Freckles, played by Jason Green. They are so good. That's all.
Which one was Freckles? I have them as Caleb, the guy that he has a thing for.
Benicio, or...
No, the straight one is who he's thinking of.
The straight one. There's guy in England. There's guy who is going bisexual.
Lenjamin.
There's person who got set up on a date with bisexual
That's
guy.
Freckle.
That's Freckle.
And the girl. There's also the
Karen.
girl.
Then Karen, who went on a date with straight guy that he's in love with.
Yes.
Okay. Got them all.
What do I want to say? So I'm struggling with this because I know people worked hard on this show, and I know that a lot goes into things like this. I really didn't enjoy it. But I think that the idea was like a 8 out of 10. But I found the execution very strange. No one was ever fazed by information they were receiving or seemed to have any sort of
reaction to anything.
Like when Len tells him he's thinking about becoming bisexual and then says, I hear that like you go farther in business.
That bugged me.
I expected him to like, I guess Caleb to be like, well, that's not...
Yeah, like...
That's not why you
That's not a decision
this.
to be made lightly. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But if you're reading a Business Times article and it says bisexual people are making the money, and you go, well, I guess I'll be bisexual.
And like, no one seemed to acknowledge it, but it did become a running gag throughout the show that every episode he was doing something new. Like, I think in the next episode he's Catholic, and then maybe he's a rapper at some point. But, like, no one seemed to be acknowledging the idea that, like, this is weird.
That's fair. It is a little dated. I will also say that Ryan Jordan Alvarez, I believe, I don't know if this is a true story, I just heard that he auditioned for SNL and was openly, like, had, like, an openly gay character. He himself is openly gay. And was rejected, and he has this whole thing that he was rejected because he was openly gay, and at that point SNL didn't have any openly queer people in their cast.
They didn't have one for a while. They had one in the 80s, and then I think there was like till Kate McKinnon, I think, was. So there's definitely the idea that they were like discriminating.
Yeah, I mean it's a TV show on a major network. I would be surprised if they weren't discriminating.
My big question is, can I perform Freckles' monologue? That is my go-to monologue whenever I need like an audition monologue.
Which
monologue?
The monologue she gives in that audition?
No, not that one. I'm just gonna do it. So I'm hanging out in my apartment. I've got some candles lit. I'm feeling good. I've had a glass of wine. And down in the street, I hear these two beautiful boys playing. They're skateboarding. They're doing flips of something. One of them looks up at me and has the most beautiful face I've ever seen. Asian. And you know how I like a little Asian. You remember my date with Len. The point is, I say, woohoo, boys, and they sort of look. The one who isn't Asian is black. And you don't have to, this could be a colorblind story, but I want to fill it with color. And in America, racism is a problem. Well, the story isn't racist, it's diverse. If everyone in it was white, then it would be racist. So the boys come up to my apartment, and I'm wearing a robe. I'm only wearing a robe. And I say, why don't you come in my boudoir and watch me do a monologue? And they say, where's the bed? And I say, this is the bed right here. And they say, can we sit on the bed? And I say, sure, but these are expensive Japanese linen. And they say, but they're not even soft. And I say, sometimes things that are expensive are worse. Thank you.
That story...
Thanks, I hated it.
Did another idea that I didn't really understand about this show, which was, like, why were those two characters there? Like, they didn't... I guess they drive Benicio home. But, like, why did we need to meet those two boys? Why did we hear this story? Like...
It's the best monologue. Sometimes things that are expensive are worse.
I don't know, it felt very strange for me that there was a web series that had like a limited amount of time, and so much of the information I received didn't seem to matter.
I didn't feel like there was a lot of like payoff. I mean, I only watched the first episode, so, you know, that's on me, but I don't think there were any jokes that landed. There wasn't any stories that I felt super compelled by. It was just kind of a narrative for narrative's sake.
That's fair. To spoil it for you and anybody listening who hasn't seen it, Caleb and Benicio get married. But it also comes out that he and... Oh god, what's his name in the show? Billy. Kind of hooked up while he and Benicio were, like, back together.
Does that ruin his marriage with Benicio?
It becomes a big fight. Because it comes out during the wedding.
Oh.
Or, like, right before or right after.
Yeah, because Billy's mad that Karen won't be with him. So he tells him at the wedding.
Did you like the advisors, Benny? I thought they were good.
I also found them strange. Like, they begin by saying, "We're your advisors." And you're like, why did they tell him that? But then he does lampshade it by saying, "You guys don't have to tell me this every time." And they're in a throuple.
Yeah.
And that idea goes nowhere. Like, he's into the other guy in the throuple. He's into the guy in the throuple. And then... do they ever come back? I guess they're at the wedding.
Yeah, they're at the wedding. I feel like this was just... I mean, I could obviously, like, look it up and find out. But it was just a couple of friends. And they were like, let's...
shoot a thing.
Let's do a thing.
Yeah.
And people were like, I have this funny joke that I think would be really funny. And they go, put them in. Like, throw it in. Here's the storyline. We get... we just hit our 2 points.
So it's kind of like this podcast.
Yeah.
A group of friends that were like, let's do a thing.
I feel this...
So you can see why we don't like this, Tori, because
you hate me and everything that I do. Everything that I like, everything I suggest.
I wouldn't say I hated it. I feel like I felt the same way about it that you felt about Friday Night Lights.
Now that's not fair, because I made good choices, and you made me watch Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights is, like, we're not going to relitigate it.
I mean, I'm going to have to side with Benny on this one.
How dare you?
It feels about
well,
the same.
surprise. Nepotism.
We men got to stick together.
Nepotism.
Right?
BLT of Wry is famously an old boys club.
We them boys. Ferda.
We are them boys.
We them boys.
But yeah, like, I guess maybe we didn't feel like the same way about it, because I thought that you kind of enjoyed Friday Night Lights, but felt it wasn't for you.
I thought it was
Whereas
fun.
that's how I felt about this. I was like, it was kind of enjoyable, but I feel like it's not for me.
Yeah, I think I'm somewhere in that range too. Like, I can see why plenty of people would enjoy this, but like...
Yeah. I would not be surprised if somebody said to me, "Oh, I loved it."
That's valid. I'm trying to find out when it came out.
There's a discrepancy on the YouTube page, because the first episode was published 2 months ago, but every other
the second episode was 4 years ago.
Yes.
This says 2016.
I think maybe they just did a re-upload or something.
Yeah.
Like it got bumped or something. Moving on from this, one more thing I wanted to talk about. We all watched a movie together.
We did all watch.
Oh, we did.
Oh man, I need to hear your thoughts on this, because when it was over, we kind of like went to bed. It was late. We watched Food Fight, and if you don't know Food Fight, go read the Wikipedia page. It's a nightmare of a movie. Food Fight?
We all watched Food Fight through the audio on Tori's computer.
Yeah.
Okay, we figured it out eventually.
No, it still didn't work.
No, we didn't.
We all just had to mute.
And listen to it through your mic.
No, we didn't have the heart to tell you at the time.
It was just too much work to not do that. It's like, if we sit here and tech support this, we're going to finish watching this movie at 4 a.m, and I'm going to hate myself and everyone
A
else.
simple idiot. I claim to be no more and no less.
But that's the thing, you had your headphones on. Like, there's no reason
Yeah,
you should have been doing that.
It was weird.
Anyway. So first and foremost, I was the one that put it on, so I'd like to issue a formal apology.
Thank you. I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Benny, will you also apologize to me?
Why did I'm sorry, but what did I do?
Thank you. I just think I deserve it.
But I love that movie so much.
Why?
Because it's so bad. It's so bad.
I will say I am not a big fan of the "it's so bad it's good."
Yeah. See, normally, I'm not like I don't like Rocky Horror. I don't like The Room, but there was just something about this one where it was like every single joke that missed, like it like hurt my soul in the best way. I was like, oh my god, no, you blew it. It was, I could have fixed that one. My god. I couldn't look away. It was a train wreck. I just couldn't look away.
Can I try to recap the plot from what I remember?
Sure.
Alright. It opens on a dog. And he does something.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a squirrel that's made out of chocolate.
Yep. That's Charlie Sheen and Wayne Brady.
And then we find out that the dog is in love with a cat.
Hilary Duff.
Who is Raisins.
She's like a cat person. She had cat ears and like whisker lines.
Oh.
And then she disappeared.
Yes.
And then we're ahead like 4 years.
6 months, but yes.
And then this dog is like sad and drunk. So Charlie Sheen. And then there's a party. And then this sexy woman comes in that the squirrel had sexually harassed from his airplane earlier.
That was a different girl, but Eva Longoria, yes. And originally the girl he was harassing from the plane was supposed to be Little Debbie, but they pulled the character because they didn't want their character to get harassed by Wayne Brady.
That checks out.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't want that either.
So then a woman with a hair that looked as if it was plastic and also tubes
Eva Longoria
came in, and she was like, hello dog, let's get it on. And he's like, nah man. And then out in the street a man was murdered.
Yes.
And Eve, the purple haired lady, is like, this is a war, I should be in charge of everything. And the town's like, oh, what? Alright. And then the dog does some other stuff. Something else happens. It turns out purple hair is evil. Duh. They kill her. And then the cat is back.
Yeah, that's about it.
I feel like I remember the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah. And I'm not really sure how they connected.
I think you.
Oh, and there was a gay bat.
There was a gay bat that was originally going to be Count Chocula, but General Mills decided they don't want Count Chocula to sexually harass Wayne Brady.
Which is what I do want.
Yes, I would have preferred that.
I'm going to take a hard stance here. I don't want any sexual harassment. I know it's controversial.
And controversial.
I know people are going to disagree out in the audience, especially Tori's fans, but...
What does that mean?
We all know what your fans
I just had
like,
to
Tori.
pick either you or Luke, and it seemed like funnier to pick you.
Yeah.
I feel like it's funnier to pick Luke, because I do get sexually harassed.
Look, I'm sorry.
Look, I'm not saying Luke doesn't get sexually harassed.
Makes sense
I guess now my apology makes sense, and that I'm sorry.
No, I
was
get a second
not
apology.
sensitive.
The first one was for everything else.
No, yeah, you're right, Tori. It does make sense, because out of the two of us, you are more likely to be sexually harassed.
Luke, do you want me to
I
sexually
don't like
harass
this conversation. I'm sorry I started it.
Does that make you feel better?
And
no, I'm just saying it's
baby,
funny. It would be funnier if your fans were pro.
I wish that I hadn't done this. I wish I had not done this.
Hey, baby, show me where that beard goes.
He's gone. Benny left. Oh no, he's back.
Luke's not listening to me sexually harass him.
Oh no,
I'm against
go
this.
all the way up?
I'm on record as being against this.
I think
the only one on this podcast on record as being against it.
I will make a controversial stance now. Here at BLT on Wry, we are all anti-sexual harassment.
Yes.
Okay.
Probably.
I've been while Tori has been doing this description, I've been looking for. So the movie was released in 2012. I want to know when the voices were done, because there's something saying like Established a deal, financial company,
Benny, while he does this, do you want to see something funny?
Yes.
I like my fucking Sid from Ice Age.
So, 2007 was a release date of 2005 was announced. So, like, theoretically, if all of the issues were with the animation like they said they were, the voices were done by 2005. Hilary Duff is 32. 2005 was 15 years ago. There's a chance that
I can do that math. I can't.
There's a chance that 17-year-old Hilary Duff was the love interest of, 45-year-old Charlie Sheen?
What's Charlie Sheen now?
Yeah, also,
no,
what was Charlie
39-year-old.
Sheen's big,
It's there, it's coming.
What?
Was that a complete sentence?
What was his big what?
When was his big, like, breakdown and
like, well past this. I want to say that was like 2015, 16. Or, no, I remember it was at least when I was in high school, because I went to go donate blood because they had blood drives at school, and I didn't move my arm enough, so they didn't get enough blood, so they didn't have a complete donation. So I got a blood donor card, but I hadn't donated a complete thing of blood, so they didn't have my blood type on there, so it was useless, so I just wrote tiger blood, on the card.
It was definitely when I was in college, because I remember I was painting houses at the time.
I just really like that that slushy flavor, Tiger's Blood. It's like blue coconut. Very good.
Hold on, you sure you were...
I was maybe a freshman.
What year did you start college?
Oh, I think I was still in high school.
I started college in the year 2010.
Okay, so that would have been my senior year, your freshman year of college. My senior year of high school. Okay, that checks out. So this movie was still 2 years from release before he had his breakdown.
Wait, what was
2 years?
The year was
2 years after his breakdown. This movie released on DVD,
and I think it's what caused it.
Very well, maybe the case. Well,
what's that movie where all the food has sex?
That's Sausage Party.
Okay, that's what I thought we were watching for maybe a solid 5 minutes.
It's similar.
Yeah. Probably about as amusing, honestly.
I don't think I've ever watched Sausage Party either.
It's a real indictment of Sausage Party. I couldn't say it.
Yeah, I did watch it. It's not very good. The difference being that the jokes in Sausage Party, any humor derived from Sausage Party is intended.
Yes, that's
true. There may not be a lot of it, but it's intended. This one, it's all, God, there are so many Nazis. All of the bad guys were straight up Nazis.
They were Nazis. I forgot there were Nazis.
They did not disguise that at all. It wasn't like, oh, this is an allegory. It was like, there was a giant eagle, and they were goose-stepping, and they had a salute. They had a double Heil step. Yeah, it was something. Well, I think that about concludes this episode of BLT on Wry.
Yeah, I was B.
I was L.
And I was Tony the Tiger.
Weren't you a tiger last time? No, you were a bear. You were the Bad News Bears.
Yes, and then I was the Babadook. Which I still haven't seen that movie, and I won't, because I don't fuck with demons.
It's a pretty good movie. Anyway, catch you next time.
Yep, remember, I don't fuck with demons, and neither should you.